Hey, it's Jen with some truly unastounding news. So what I'm talking about is my favorite man, Joe Biden, and I say that with complete sarcasm. He's not my favorite man. Mr. Joe Biden last week held his first fundraiser, and he hauled in a bunch of money from GOP, lobbyists, etc. You know, that's not surprising at all. Well, last night, Tuesday, he also held a fundraiser. This time it was in Las Vegas, the city of sin. And Joe Biden was certainly surrounded by some sinful people. And we'll go into who all those people are and what he was doing there and everything to do with these people. So you'll see just how bad these people are. You'll see why the establishment Democrats and establishment people and even establishment Republicans are lining up behind him. So, you know, those Republicans that aren't fans of Trump, but they're still in the Republican space, they still have conservative ideology. Well, they're Biden supporters. You know why? Because Biden may as well be a Republican. I mean, if you look at his non-policies, if you look at his voting record, there's really no difference. He's center-right. Biden is unbelievably, I saw a poll today that has him at 40% in the polls, which shocked me. Not only because the polls are often rigged in that they report the results the way that they want to report them. They poll who they want to poll. They often undersample younger voters. But 40% was the highest that I've seen Biden polling at. So it's a little bit scary. And actually, behind the scenes, we're actually looking at ways to do some polling ourselves. So let's keep tuned for that. Hopefully, we can figure that out. We want to do some independent polling, non-biased polling, modern polling, and we won't be putting any headline spins on anything like these other polling companies do. And the poll I'm referring to is the Morning Consult poll, just so you know. Let's take a look now at the fundraiser that Biden went to. First, he held a rally in Las Vegas for all of his supporters, as as few as they may be. And again, I don't want to be ageist, but his supporters are older. They're basically all older, and there are a lot of amazing burners who are older. There are a lot of amazing Tulsi Gabbard supporters who are older. There are lots of great people who support people like Mike Gravel and Elizabeth Warren. There are a lot of amazing older people, older generations that support progressive policies and that understand what their generation has done to younger generations and millennials and younger than that. So I don't want to be ageist, but it's the fact. The fact is that Biden supporters tend to be older, and it's very disturbing that people don't see through and who he really is. They just think he's a safe option against Trump. But he's not. He's not a safe option against Trump. He is Hillary Clinton 2.0. And as I said in a previous video, I think he is worse than Hillary Clinton, and I am in no way a Hillary Clinton supporter. I think she's disastrous. She would have been disastrous for the country. She would have been a hell of a lot better than Trump, you know, that's for sure. But Biden is worse. Biden is worse because of his policies, of his gaffes. He makes gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. I don't know what's up with this guy, but every other day, it's like, here's one thing Biden said that's terrible. Here's another thing Biden said that's terrible. Here's another vote that Biden had that's terrible. Here's another, the Anita Hill confirmation hearings that he was the leader of, and he didn't call in the witnesses for Anita Hill, and that was a major mistake. But he says, oh, I wish there was something I could have done. Yeah, there's lots of things you could have done, Joe Biden. And I really, I'm from Delaware, and the people from Delaware tend to be Biden fans. He takes the train. That's the old joke, because people apparently vote based on the fact that he took the train from Washington, D.C. back to Wilmington every day to see his kids. And I do think that that's wonderful. I think that's totally awesome, but it's not totally awesome enough to vote for him for president. And Biden is all about collecting cash, cash, cash. And he's also, as we reported here at Status Quo, he has also said that he won't take corporate PAC money, but his PAC, American Possibilities, that he set up in 2017, I believe it was, is taking corporate cash. So there's a loophole for you. That's who Joe Biden is, and these people who he's surrounding himself with at these fundraisers are just as bad. They're lobbyists, they're GOP, they're people who are very, very wealthy, who are totally out of touch with the American people. They're people who want something. And as a younger Joe Biden said, these people give money because of what they want. They expect something in return. But apparently older Joe Biden doesn't remember that. So let's go ahead and look at the invitation to this amazing fundraiser that was held last night. So here you see we have Biden for president. Please join Heather and Jim Murren, together with Cynthia and Joe Asher, Lauren and Greg Brower, David Grohlman, Reed Horsley, Kathleen and Randall Jones, for a reception with Vice President Joe Biden. And for a quick rundown of who these people are, Heather and Jim Murren is head of MGM. He's a Republican. He's an anti-Trump Republican who endorsed Hillary Clinton in the in the 2016 elections. Cynthia and Joe Asher. William Hill. So William Hill is the biggest bookmaker. William Hill, I don't know, I guess that was probably a person, but William Hill is a company that I'm referring to. So it's the world's biggest bookmaker, gambling, all of that. So Joe Asher is the William Hill CEO. Then we have Lauren and Greg Brower. He's ex-GOP state senator. Greg Brower, ex-U.S. attorney for Nevada. And David Grohlman, president of retail operations for William Hill. Reed Horsley, William Hill attorney, and Randall Jones, business litigation attorney. So lots of powerful people there, especially Jim Murren, the head of MGM, who is GOP. Even though he didn't want to vote for Trump, he's still a conservative Republican. And that's who Biden is going to fundraisers with. And I think Jordan put it really well in this thread that he did. So last night we researched who these people are more in depth, and we found some scandalous things, for lack of a better word. No, that is the right word. Scandalous. They are scandalous things that Joe Biden is attending these fundraisers with and receiving money from and rubbing elbows with and calling his best buddies. So let's go to Jordan's Twitter. Jordan wrote, "Breaking. Joe Biden is currently holding a Vegas fundraiser with some Republicans. One is Greg Brower, a former Nevada state senator and federal prosecutor. While a U.S. prosecutor, Brower was cited for misconduct for sexual discrimination and retaliation." And the link that Jordan was referring to is from the Reno Gazette-Journal. FBI liaison Greg Brower cited for misconduct from his time as federal prosecutor in Nevada. And this was published July 17th, 2017 by the Associated Press. The former top federal prosecutor in Nevada has been cited for misconduct in an 8-year-old sex discrimination case. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission determined earlier this year that a former female prosecutor was subjected to sex discrimination and retaliation while Greg Brower was in charge of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Nevada from January 2008 to October 2009, the Las Vegas Review-Journal reported Thursday. Brower, remember, this is a guy who is one of the hosts of this fundraiser that Biden attended, and it was for him yesterday, Tuesday. Brower is currently the FBI's top liaison with Congress. He no longer is, by the way, during its investigation in Russian election meddling. He is also a former Nevada legislator. The 8-page decision by the commission issued May 19th was obtained by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. It supports an administrative judge's opinion that Brower acted hostile toward the prosecutor after she complained that he made a sexist remark. It also criticized the office for being slow to transfer her after she made the report. While acts of discrimination and retaliation are no doubt common within the federal service, it is extremely rare to see such a finding against the U.S. Attorney's Office, which is charged with upholding the laws of this country, said Las Vegas Attorney Adam Levine, who has advised clients in the federal equal employment opportunity process. If any agency should be aware of the prohibition against retaliation, it is the U.S. Attorney's Office. Brower and a spokeswoman for the U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment. Under the decision, the Justice Department will have to pay the former prosecutor a total of $287,998 in legal fees, costs, and damages. Brower and other managers involved in the case are required to attend anti-sex discrimination and retaliation training. The U.S. Attorney's Office is expected to post the order explaining the commission findings and submit a client compliance report. It is unclear whether Brower will be disciplined now that he is working for the Department of Justice again. Oh boy. The last thing that Joe Biden should be doing is surrounding himself with someone who has gotten in trouble for sex discrimination and making sexual remarks. Remember that Biden has been accused by several women. I believe at last count it was 8 women, and there are countless photos and videos of many more women and children who he has sexually harassed. He has sniffed women's hair, he's grabbed them by the shoulders, he's given them unwanted massages, he's given them kisses, he's, hugged them, he's breathed on them. I mean, he gets very close to women who don't want him close to them. So the fact that he attended this fundraiser with Brower is highly disturbing, and that connection is something that the media should be reporting on. But they're not reporting on it. They're not reporting on anything. This fundraiser has gone mostly unnoticed by the media at all. But here at Status Quo, we noticed, and that's why we're reporting on it. Can't get by us, Biden. So let's go back to Jordan's tweets here and see what else is going on with these people. He also followed up that first tweet by saying the Justice Department had to pay the former female prosecutor a total of $287,998 in legal fees, costs, and damages. Brower and other managers involved in the case are required to attend anti-sex discrimination and retaliation training. So that's a quote from that article that we just read. And Jordan goes on to say, but shed no tears for Brower. He is now with DC's mega lobbying firm, Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck. Schreck seems to be an apt name. So here we have the page of Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck. We have Gregory Brower, who's a shareholder. They give his biography and all that. So he's landed okay, even through his sex discrimination case and through all of the terrible things that he has done. And, he's a powerful Nevada figure. We have joining Brower at the fundraiser is MGM CEO Jim Murren. It might be Murin, who is currently in the process of laying off 1,000 workers while making nearly $15 million in compensation. Gotta love these progressive Joe Biden surrounds himself with. First of all, even before we read about what's wrong with Jim Murin, I'm going to assume it's Murin. I apologize for not getting that pronunciation before going on, but I know you'll forgive me. Surrounding himself with the CEO of MGM, a mega power in the United States, is not surrounding himself with the people. If he wants to have grassroots like other candidates like Bernie and Tulsi and Mike Gravel and Elizabeth Warren, he needs to actually surround himself with grassroots people, not have these high dollar fundraisers surrounded by people like the head of MGM. And the head of MGM is doing unfortunate things. MGM Resorts expects to have cut about 1,000 jobs. Oh boy, hold on one second. MGM Resorts expects to have cut, oh my lordy, I am so sorry. They're going to make me unblock them. There we go. Refresh. Hopefully it won't bug us anymore. MGM Resorts expects to have cut about 1,000 jobs by June. MGM, and this is in the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and this is by Richard N. Villota. MGM Resorts International executives said Monday they'll continue to focus on a cost-cutting initiative that is putting hundreds in the unemployment line. Chief Financial Officer Corey Sanders said in an earnings call the company expects it will have cut about 1,000 jobs by June, including the 254 announced last week, and that 35 executives have taken voluntary retirement as part of its MGM 2020 plan. The initiative is aimed at leveraging a more centralized organization to maximize profitability and lay the groundwork for a digital transformation that is expected to improve cash flow by $300 million a year by 2021. Revenue was flat and cash flow dipped by 10% on the Strip for the quarter that ended March 31st, but the Las Vegas-based company reported 12.6% more revenue in this year's first quarter than in 2018 and improved results in Macau and at the company's regional properties. While the results failed to meet analysts' expectations, executives fielding questions Monday said the best is yet to come for the company. MGM chairman and CEO Jim Murin said the company's regional properties performed well during the quarter, with MGM Detroit and MGM National Harbor in Maryland reporting increases in cash flow. He also noticed that MGM Springfield, the Western Massachusetts property that opened last summer, Park MGM in Las Vegas, and MGM Cotai, I think, and Macau continue to ramp up their respective customer bases after grand openings or major upgrades. Murin also noted that during the quarter, the company received an extension to its Macau subconcession to June 2022, placing it in line with other operators in the Chinese enclave. Let's see here. With the return of Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars later in the year, 2019 is looking outstanding, Murin said in remarks to analysts. Murin said demand continued to run high in Las Vegas and non-gaming revenue grew by 4% over the first quarter of 2018. By property, cash flow was higher in the quarter this year compared with the first quarter of 2018 at the Mirage, Excalibur, Park MGM, and Circus Circus, with other properties in MGM's Las Vegas portfolio showing declines. Let's keep going. You can see revenue, net income, all of that. The point is that while Jim Murin is raking in the bucks left and right, pulling in those bucks, hosting high dollar fundraisers for Joe Biden, he's laying off about 1,000 workers who are most likely low income, who weren't getting paid correctly, weren't getting paid enough in the first place, and all of that. But since he's the chairman and CEO, he gets to live the high life. He gets to host high-dollar fundraisers for Joe Biden. There's more. Also in attendance is Nevada attorney J. Randall Jones, who was caught up in a scandal in 2013 of donating $50,000 to Senator Harry Reid. Senator Harry Reid's Senate Super PAC, while Reid was considering Jones as a law partner for a federal judgeship. Here we have AboveTheLaw.com, The High Price of the Federal Bench by Joe Patrice. A minor scandal brewing in Las Vegas highlights the festering problem of campaign finance laws and federal judgeships. This was in May 7th, 2013. A minor scandal is brewing in Las Vegas, in a city known for its impeccable ethics and strictly above-board dealings. I don't think that's quite the case. The legal community is astir over suggestions that a nominee to the federal bench earned her nomination by engineering a windfall for her political sponsor, Senator Harry Reid, with conveniently timed donations from her law partners. At what point does sucking up to politicians cross into the appearance of impropriety for prospective federal judges, and how much should the rest of us care? The immediate controversy surrounds Jenny Dorsey, currently awaiting confirmation to the District of Nevada bench. Roughly 6 months before her nomination by President Obama, and shortly after she spoke with Reid's campaign committee about the possibility of her nomination, Jenny Dorsey donated $2,500 to Reid's campaign. A month later, the campaign returned the money to Dorsey. That seems responsible. However, like a bad infomercial, but wait, there's more. The records show a partner in Dorsey's firm, Will Kemp, made a $100,000 donation reported May 1, 2012, to Senate Majority PAC, established by former strategist Senator Harry Reid, Democrat Nevada, to help Democratic Senate candidates. Another partner in this is the guy who is one of the hosts of the fundraiser Joe Biden attended last night in Nevada. Donated $50,000 to the PAC, reported on May 14, 2012. The donations came as Reid was considering Dorsey for a judgeship. The state's senior senator sent his recommendation to the White House in June, and President Barack Obama nominated Dorsey in September. And that isn't counting the additional $31,000 given to Senator Reid directly or to the Democratic Party of Nevada. There's nothing really illegal about two lawyers giving that much to a super PAC. The amounts are bigger than the two had ever given before. But then again, they had just won a $182 million judgment against Teva Pharmaceutical, so they had a lot more to give last cycle. So there you go, these high-powered, high-profit, wealthy people that Joe Biden surrounds himself with. But broken down, Reid's allies get paid in May. He makes a recommendation in June. Dorsey is nominated in September. Curious. That certainly looks like a payoff. And the involvement of the terminally slimy Harry Reid only exacerbates the queasiness one could feel about this nomination. Maybe there was no connection between the contributions and Dorsey's nomination, but so far, no one on the Senate Judiciary Committee has seen fit to even explore the issue. You get the picture by now. These people are slimy. These people are extremely wealthy. They're not the people of the United States, and that is who Joe Biden is supposed to be appealing to. If he actually wants to win, the right way, he has to get out of the old way of thinking. Those days are gone. The days where you can rake in corporate PAC money, which he's doing through his own PAC, American Possibilities, it's over. The people don't want that. The people see through that. And Bernie Sanders, I believe, opened up people's eyes. And people don't want Joe Biden. If he does happen to win the Democratic primary, I think that there's a very, very strong chance that Trump will become president again. He'll have a second term. We can't have Joe Biden winning. And with the way he's conducting himself, I hope that the people who are on his side, those apparent 40% of voters, see through this, that they open their eyes and do their research and pay attention to the people who are reporting this like status quo. Let's go back to Jordan's Twitter, or the Twitter, as he would say. And Jordan says, seems like it worked, referring to Randall Jones paying in all that money. POTUS 44. So Obama nominated Jones's law partner, Jenny Dorsey, to the bench in September 2012. So let's recap. Joe Biden is currently eating stale hors d'oeuvres with 1. Former U.S. Attorney, GOP state senator, reprimanded for sexual discrimination and retaliation. 2. Greedy MGM CEO cutting 1,000 workers while making $15 million a year. And 3. Big Nevada attorney caught up in pay-for-play scandal. None of that is good. None of that should be happening. Joe Biden should not be attending these fundraisers. He's totally oblivious to the politics of today. And speaking of today is Wednesday, and I believe it's May 8th. It is indeed May 8th. And Joe Biden is attending another fundraiser tonight, this time in California, and it's actually going to be picketed. So let's read about that. This is in HuffPo by Dave Jameson. Union plans picket of Joe Biden fundraiser hosted by Kaiser board member. So remember, this is a separate fundraiser. This one's happening today. The other one happened last night. So the National Union of Healthcare Workers is battling the healthcare provider over mental health staffing. Former Vice President Joe Biden may consider himself a union man, but one California union won't be giving him a warm welcome this week. The National Union of Healthcare Workers plans to hold an informational picket line outside a Biden fundraiser slated for Wednesday in Los Angeles, according to Sal Roselli, the union's president. The fundraiser is to be held at the home of a director of the Kaiser Foundation, which operates hospitals as a subsidiary of Kaiser Permanente. NUHW is locked in a bitter, years-long fight with Kaiser over mental health staffing levels in the healthcare provider's California facilities. Therapists waged a statewide 5-day strike in December and a 1-day work stoppage in Pasadena last month. Roselli told HuffPost his union first reached out to Biden last week about the fundraiser, to be hosted by Dr. Cynthia Tellis, a UCLA School of Medicine faculty member who sits on Kaiser's board. According to an invitation, contribution levels for the event range from $250 per person to $2,800, which is the maximum contribution for the presidential primary allowed under election law. Roselli said the union has not heard back from the campaign. He should take our side in this dispute, Roselli said. I think he should walk. He should cancel it. Neither the Biden camp nor Tellis immediately responded to requests for comment. The NUHW represents 3,500 psychologists and other workers at Kaiser facilities. The union has long alleged that Kaiser understaffs its mental health clinics, leading to long waits for vulnerable patients. The union has demanded that Kaiser hire more therapists and put pay and benefits on par with other employees in medical care. It doesn't matter what a patient's situation is, one therapist told USC Annenberg Media in April. They could be struggling with parenting. They could be going through bereavement. They could have a bipolar disorder. They're still going to have to wait 3 months. The tiff over the California fundraiser is another sign of the trouble Biden may run into with the progressive left as he works his donor network. The former Veep kicked off his campaign with a show of union support last week, winning the endorsement of the International Association of Firefighters and speaking at Teamsters Town Hall in Pennsylvania. But as HuffPost reported, the early Democratic frontrunner is bound to have a harder time rounding up the support of progressive unions uneasy with his centrist track record and corporate ties. Some of his top opponents are already using that line of attack. Senator Elizabeth Warren criticized Biden last week, describing him as a friend to credit card companies. Meanwhile, the campaign of Senator Bernie Sanders took a shot at Biden for holding a fundraiser at the home of a Comcast executive. Roselli, whose union endorsed Sanders in the 2016 election, argued that Biden shouldn't take money from Kaiser executives or board members until the healthcare provider resolves the dispute with the union amicably. I think he should step up and get a commitment, Roselli said. So what do you think the chances are of him stepping up and getting a commitment? What do you think the chances are of him going with the union versus going with high-dollar donors that sit on the board of Kaiser? The chances aren't very good, are they? So we will continue to keep an eye out on Joe Biden and his fundraisers, where his money is coming from, the people he's surrounding himself with, and a whole lot more. Biden is a disaster. He must not win the Democratic primary, and the way he's going, I don't think the people will vote him in. But according to the polling, which is at 40%, it means that people who want someone like Bernie Sanders to win need to work a heck of a lot harder and really focus in on that grassroots support. A lot of people are volunteers. There are text campaigns, there are phone banking campaigns, there's canvassing, things like that. A lot of people do those things for Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Mike Gravel, Kamala Harris, if that's your thing. So for whatever candidate that you are for, and honestly, hopefully after you see what's going on with Joe Biden, you're probably not going to be for him unless you're too a centrist. Go for it, Go for whichever candidate you want, and go for that candidate full force, because our democracy is at stake. We can't have Trump win again, and having a centrist in office is definitely the way to have Trump win again. Alrighty, bye-bye.